We have with us Prahaladbhai Shivrambhai Patel, CMD and CEO at PSP Projects, Manan Shah of Infra, as well as Pawan Kumar Gupta, CMD at NBCC. Thank you all, gentlemen, for taking time out and joining in. Mr. Shah, I wanted to get in your views first up. What's the outlook in terms of the overall demand for the infrastructure sector, and how are you looking at the on-ground outlook?
Morning. So currently we are expecting a lot of new orders in infrastructure coming in because there's quite a special demand which is being generated in the port sector, which we are seeing near Danu. And I think the work size is going to be significant, and we are seeing a pipeline for next at least 5 to 7 years of inflow coming in from there where we wish to bid for. And at the same time, last week we just won another port contract award for finishing and pavement and doing some infrastructure over there. So we are very, very bullish on the infrastructure side, where we expect the government also announcing a lot of new infrastructure orders coming in, especially in the port sector.
Mr. Patel, how would you sketch the big picture for us in terms of business and in terms of outlook for next 3 to 4 quarters? Mr. Patel.
Now, there are so many projects which are also coming up in building, right? Whether it is from the government side or whether it is from private side. If you see from the government side, our Center Vista project is already on, and about out of that 20,000 crore, only about 8,000 crore has been announced till now for the tendering stage. In redevelopment side also, if you say there are so many other projects which is coming at private sector and the government sector, the buildings which are getting older, that is also getting demolished and new secretariats are being built. In UP, we have just heard the tender for the architect has already been announced for more than 3,500 crore for this new secretariat. In private sector, as I always say, that investment from Adani, investment from ArcelorMittal, investment from Reliance, all more major.
We've got you on a bad audio line. Maybe the Bombay rain are having impact on the connectivity. I promise we'll just get right, back to you. But I'm going to connect with Mr. Gupta, Mr. Pawan Kumar Gupta. Mr. Gupta, NBCC is not a pure builder, but it is a developer. If you really have to explain that what is happening to NBCC's business, especially the projects which you're developing, the contracts which you're giving to the developers, how would you characterize the big picture for us? Mr. Gupta? There is a bit of a, huge audio problem.
Please.
Would you like to respond to my question, sir?
You can tell we can't see you. We can't see you.
Sir, I can see you and we can hear you also. Would you like to go ahead?
You are audible but not visible.
Yes, sir, but we can see you. You're live on television. Would you like to go ahead with my question, sir? We can see you and we can hear you, sir, so no problem. Okay, what is happening to NBCC? Can you tell us the big picture, Mr. Gupta? I think we've got everyone on a terrible line per se. Manan, broadly, the construction industry, the business which you represent, it's a tough industry. It's a cyclical industry. But what we understand after we do a ground check is that right now there is more demand and less supply. And for premium builders right now, margins are also, there are more orders and there is less availability. Is it true?
So I agree to that, because your delivery record is something which is very, very important in today's market, where if you've done the ground check, like you mentioned, we've delivered more than 15 projects all before time. And that's something which speaks for itself. And because of that, customers have shown tremendous confidence on our brand, and it allows us to have much better price command, much better grip on the market. And in fact, we are able to sell much more faster, having a better realization at a much earlier year. So I believe that the segment is doing quite well in terms of real estate and even infrastructure side, where the numbers have been speaking for the past, in fact, 8 quarters for us. And we even see a much better, the coming year also seems to be brighter, where we, expect the velocity to continue and go on for the same.
When do you see the cyclicality of this business playing out, Manan? Because ultimately this is a business which is also deeply cyclical. It's a business which ultimately is a cost plus business. How do you see this year or next 2 years being different from last 2 years?
So this year, in fact, the project sizes for us has increased, drastically. So compared to small redevelopments, we've achieved and one project which are much more larger in size comparatively. And at the same time, the project tenure is also more. So we are seeing much more stabilized incomes coming in and see a continuous momentum happening over there. In terms of cost, post-COVID, some bit of cost has been increased, but I see it getting set off by the price increase which we've realized in the past few quarters, where a lot of premiums have been paid by the customer for good properties, where they've been showing confidence, and the price has been increased probably by around 12 to 15% on year-on-year basis.
Mr. Gupta, give us a little bit color on, what's been your observation on ground, given that, you're not just a contractor, but a developer, so to speak, NBCC? I don't think Mr. Gupta can really hear us. Aman, you want to try that?
Yeah, Mr. Gupta, maybe you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Okay, we'll avoid that. Mr. Patel, let's get in your take then in terms of the outlook, in terms of what you're seeing in the micro market, in terms of demand. Which regions are you seeing driving the growth for infrastructure and construction companies? This is for you, Mr. Patel.
Yeah, thank you. See, the market drive is mostly coming from the government side as well as the private side. See, if you see the government side, when the projects related to tourism, projects related to redevelopment of government offices, these are coming in large stages, like what we see is Central Vista project already been announced, and about 8,000 crore work has already been done. So still 12,000 plus crore tenders has to come from Central Vista. If you see about Gujarat, once this Olympics 2036 bid is announced, there are so much development has to come from sports that manage the sports enclave of Ahmedabad. 4,600 crore investment already been announced. If you see on the tourism side, we are already working on this Daroi Dam, where we have already won one order, and there are still 2 more orders to come. So in total, it is an investment of 1,200 crore plus. Again, tourism and the Statue of Unity, there are 2 more museums are going to come. When we talk about this private sector, as we are working with Ashram Mitra, we are also working with Adani. Their capex already being announced, is still working on, and probably this will go from here minimum 1 or 2 years. So there is a huge demand from the market, whether it is private sector, whether it is government sector, or whether it is real estate developer. In Ahmedabad, if you say this 100-meter height is allowed since the last 6 months, last 1 year, and now so many iconic projects are coming up. So I personally see that from whether it is private or the government, there will be huge opportunity for most of the contracting firm like us.
Okay. Where is the growth, specifically coming for PSP? Is it government? Is it railways? Is it roads? Or is it private builders?
Specifically, PSP is purely into building construction, so growth has to come from building line only. But whether it is from government side or private side, usually the private projects are of a less volume. So I think the growth for PSP will be more on the government side. But till now, our order book has been ranging between 60 and 40. Sometimes 40 is private, sometimes 60 is government, and vice versa. So it can not be envisaged perfectly, but in all the economical growth of the country, what we are seeing, I presently see the development on education, medicine, tourism, all these 3 sectors we are seeing, and redevelopment. If all we see onto this sector, I think there will be huge expansions to come from government side.
All right, gentlemen, good to have you on board. Thank you so much for joining in and giving us a perspective as to how things are shaping up within the overall infrastructure sector and the construction activity.